Make your next move with American Express Business Platinum. You'll get 5 times membership rewards points on flights and prepaid hotels booked on AmexTravel.com. Plus, enjoy access to the American Express Global Lounge Collection. And with the welcome offer of 150,000 points, your business can soar to all new heights. Terms apply. Learn more at americanexpress.com/business-platinum. Amex Business Platinum. Built for business by American Express.
Hello, fellow gamers, and welcome to the Video Gamers Podcast. On this episode of This Week in Gaming, we finally get an official update on Silksong. We're told to temper expectations for the next Battlefield release. Oh, don't worry, they're tempered already. Genshin Impact gets in trouble, and we'll dive a little bit into the Elon Musk gaming drama. But first, some introductions are in order. I am your host, Josh, and joining me, he hates loot boxes, but loves battle passes, and you can hear him chanting to himself, I will not get hyped for the next Battlefield. I will not get hyped for the next Battlefield. It's Ryan.
When I read that article and it's like temper expectations, I'm like, don't worry, buddy. They were tempered a long time ago.
Oh, man. Well, yeah, we're gonna get into that, and it's funny because I think you and I are on the exact same page. It's to the point where Battlefield is dead to me until it comes out and we hear good things about it. But we'll get into that story in just a minute. Ryan, we've got some more reviews that we need to catch up on.
Yes.
If you are a fan of this podcast and you have not taken the 2 seconds to rate us 5 stars in your podcast app, please take a second to do that. You can do that on Spotify. It's a 5-star rating. On Apple, you can rate us 5 stars, but you can also write us a review. And if you do that, there's a good chance we're going to read them on the show. I got 2 of them today.
Oh, yeah.
This first one comes in from Frog Knight 57, and it's titled, Josh, please read Best Gaming. And it says, I have listened to all of the gaming podcasts, and this one is the one that stuck out to me. It's amazing how they make new episodes weekly, and I don't have to be annoyed because they stop the podcast. They talk about great games. Love all the games you guys talk about. Also, Ryan, you're great too.
Oh, that's good to know.
I mean, you know,
I'm glad I get thrown
okay
in there.
To be second place, right?
It's an afterthought, but I'm still on the board.
Now, when your name makes the title of the review, Ryan, that's I'll make sure that we don't ever read that one on the show.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I'll never know.
And then this next one comes in from, this is actually the name, Best Podcast to Listen to. And it's titled Best Podcast Ever. I like this trend, man. You see a trend going on here?
I do.
And this one says, I have been looking for a good podcast to listen to while practicing basketball or getting destroyed in Elden Ring. The amount of episodes are amazing. I will never run out. I have found a lot of good games from this podcast, like The Ghost of Tsushima, which is my second favorite game after Elden Ring.
Oh.
Also, I don't know if you guys remember talking about this, but in the best game from each century, I think it was decade, but I have played Heroes Quest.
Oh.
Tributes to you, Paul. Dude, Heroes Quest was my favorite game as a kid growing up until I discovered the joys of EverQuest, that is. But man, Heroes Quest was the game that told me or taught me that I love RPGs. I like combat in a game. And what a great game, man. There's like 4 people out there right now that are going like, oh, a Heroes Quest mention?
Me too.
Old Sierra game, man. Dude, Sierra had the lockdown on games
Sierra
for a
was
while.
the bomb back then.
It really was. We just had a new member join our Discord server. We were chatting some Leisure Suit Larry, which was another hilarious adults only Sierra type game. But man, yeah, they were at the height of gaming for I want to say that was like late 80s, early 90s, somewhere around there.
Yeah, probably till like maybe mid 90s or so. But yeah, they were top notch.
Oh man, way to go, Sierra! Thanks for making some great games. All right, Ryan, we've got some news stories to talk about, man. Let's start with the first one. So, the reason we bring Battlefield up on this show is you and I were absolute just diehard fans of the Battlefield franchise. I know we have talked about Battlefield many a time, and unfortunately, it's usually with like a little bit of like almost disdain for Battlefield now. Is that fair?
Yeah, that's fair to say. It's like love lost. You had so much passion and so much love for something, and then it was just kind of taken away from you, and it just makes you mad.
Now, what is the, like, when you think Battlefield real quick, like, what's the number one Battlefield to you that jumps to mind? Like, your favorite?
Battlefield 4.
Battlefield 4?
Yeah, Battlefield 4 had to be mine. That just, I played that till 2 or 3 in the morning and woke up at 6 in the morning to the load music, all the time. It was one that I probably put the most hours in. And then also probably, I played 42 when it first came out, but Vietnam, I played so much of Vietnam with Paul back in the day. So that was a big one too for me.
Yeah, for me, Battlefield 2 is hands down the greatest Battlefield in existence, in my opinion. Yeah. Battlefield 4, I will say I'm with you. I think that's my second favorite. Like, I played a lot of Battlefield 4. I don't even know if I played Battlefield 3. I might have just skipped right over that one. But I do remember thinking, like, 4 is like, okay, this is good. It has a few issues, but this is good. And then it just fell apart, man.
Yeah.
I know there's people that loved Battlefield 5, and then it, like, rolled over like an odometer where it was, like, back to Battlefield 1 after that. Yep. And it's like, I tried that one too. Could not get into those, man. That was for me the
Hardline or something. Wasn't there another one that was?
There's like Bad Company, which is really like a lot of people love Bad Company. I don't remember Hardline. I didn't play that one at all. So
yeah, there was one called Hardline. I didn't. Yeah, that was like you were like a cop in that one, or it was like some weird. It was almost like COD like campaign, like COD campaign style.
Oh, that's weird. I definitely never played that one. So, all that to say is that we approach Battlefield as diehard fans of the series. I mean, I can't tell you how much time both of us have put into this series. Battlefield 2042, if you look at our leaderboard, it's way down there. It was a massive disappointment for us. And so when we get Battlefield news, I think there's a small part of our brains that still kind of tingle just a little bit, that kind of go like, I'm not dead yet. And we're like, shut up, go be dead. And it's like, no, but there's another Battlefield. Don't ask me what this voice is, man. It kind of went from it turned into Dobby for a second there.
I have another Battlefield, master.
Dobby is free. Oh man. So the news that we got is a former DICE developer kind of came forward and cautioned fans to, quote, temper their expectations for the upcoming Battlefield title, as it will have a different philosophy and a new development team. So the thing here is that this person said, hey, the people that are making Battlefield now, it's like 98% new people. None of these people, whatever that 2% is, like none of these people have been around since the glory days of Battlefield. They don't know what they're talking about. They don't know what they're doing, so don't expect the Battlefield that you're used to.
Yeah. It's the janitor's still there.
Yeah.
That's the 2%. It
does make me wonder, like, who are these 2%?
The guy's like,
why are they not involved?
I'm not leaving. I'm staying here.
Oh man. And so of course, the news on this is that because it's an all new team and because EA is the driving force on this next Battlefield, we're just going to call it Battlefield 6 for right now, is in classic EA fashion, this dev is basically saying, hey, this thing's going to be monetized to the extreme. It's going to be marketed as a live service game from the get-go. And just temper your expectations on this. This is not going to be the Battlefield that people are used to and likely the Battlefield that people want. Now, they didn't say that means it's going to be bad. They just said it's going to look very different than what a lot of people expect.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, like, yeah, like you said, different doesn't always mean bad. It could be different and good, but when you have come to love something a certain way and then they change it, you get frustrated. Like, I know I constantly say Chipotle is overrated.
Yeah.
The one thing I would get there when my wife would go, because she loves Chipotle, I'd be like, just give me a chicken quesadilla. They take a big tortilla, throw on a bunch of cheese, bunch of chicken, fold it in half, put it in their thing, and it was like $5.50 or $6. It was cheap, it was easy, and at least I could get something, and it was okay. Then they decided to change the whole thing to where it's like a meal, and you get like a little thing of rice and tomato, and then it's like half the size, and it's more money. And I'm like, what? Okay, it's still a quesadilla, but this is completely different, man. Why did you change this?
Yeah, I didn't ask for the rice and salsa in the little slots on the side of the container. I just want a big quesadilla, man. It's not that hard.
I'm always like, you guys know the old way. Like, can you just make it the old way? And they always like look over and they're like, I can't. And I'm like, oh, yeah. All right, whatever.
And they know, though, too. They look at you knowingly like, yeah, those are the good old days. So I will say this. The one thing that the guy mentioned, too, is that they were looking into like a sort of AI commander for the series. Now, I will say that one of my favorite parts, and I can't remember if you could do this in Battlefield 4, was being the commander. I feel like you could.
Remember. I think you could, because then you could spawn in on him, right?
Right. Yeah. Well, no, that's your squad leader. The commander was the guy that could see the whole map from like overhead and could see which points and would actually direct you, and they could drop supply drops and stuff like that. I feel like the commander was a thing in Battlefield 4. I know it was a thing in Battlefield 2. Yeah. And it was usually like if more than one person wanted to play commander, the highest ranked person like got the role, which I thought was cool too. So, they mentioned things like different seasons, a battle pass, a Warzone-like mode, definitely that it's going to be a live service game and stuff like that. There's rumor that it will launch in 2025. I don't know that I believe that either. I mean, honestly, as much as EA cares about money, I think EA they care more about money than they do about this game being what fans want. But with the disaster that was 2042, I do feel like they're going to be a little bit more cautious on this one.
One would hope.
Is that being hopeful? Like, I mean,
I think you're being a little hopeful, man.
Dang it, man.
this thing, you come to find, like, they can do it the way they want to make a buttload of cash and alienate some people that get upset about it, and they make this amount of money, or they can do it, a love letter, if you will, and do it the right way, the way people really would like it, and they'll make less money. What are they going to go with? They don't care what you care. They're going to
soak this franchise for everything they can, unfortunately.
And that's the hard part. Like, remember, when you're a kid and you were playing these games, like when you saw the developer logos and who made the game and stuff, you never really thought anything about it. And now all these dev companies, we like see EA and we see Ubisoft and we see all this other stuff, and you get mad thinking about them and how they take advantage of the people now, and you never thought about that before, but they're just it's all about the dollar now, man.
Dude, there is legitimately a world where like companies like EA stop advertising that it's their game and they start just like marketing it. Like they just go like, hey, we don't know who's publishing this, but check out this game from this new developer, everybody. And it's like, oh, we're smart. We'll figure out that was. But I mean, the press and the I think the trust is just broken on Battlefield, to be honest. And I don't know that they can get it back. I would love for them to, because I know you and I would both love a really good Battlefield game to play. But the only other thing I'll say on this is, before we move on to the next story, is this is an ex-employee, so take a little bit of this with a grain of salt, because this guy might be just a little bit bitter and is trying to, post this in a bad light. I mean, not that surprises anybody, and so it does seem rather believable, unfortunately, but I guess we'll have to wait and see.
Wait and see, unfortunately.
Yeah, that one's tough. So, all right, Ryan, on a better kind of news angle, Team Cherry. And everybody's going, who the heck is Team Cherry? Team Cherry is the team that brought us Hollow Knight, people.
Yes.
And who will eventually someday during this century
Don't say
bring us Silksong. But hey, listen. Somebody posted a picture of a chocolate cake to their timeline. on social media. And as gamers do, gamers lost their minds because I think it was one of the developers for this. I can't remember who the guy was. But I remember seeing this, like it was, making waves on social media, and I was like, have you guys seen the cake? And we're like, oh, I've been playing Marvel Rivals. I've seen the cake. And they're like, no, not that cake. The chocolate cake. And I was like, what are you talking about? They're like, dude, one of the devs from Silksong or somebody related to Silksong just posted a mysterious chocolate cake. Well, everybody knows the cake is a lie. But what if the cake wasn't a lie and the cake came on a day that had something to do with like when Silksong went into development or was announced, or I don't know, dude. Gamers do some mad digging, man. So this rumor just kind of started spreading like crazy through social media, and everybody said, we're about to get a Silksong update. Where it's coming. It's because of the cake.
It's the cake. We're going to learn. We're going to know finally.
This guy might just really like cake. He might have just been eating some really delicious chocolate cake. It was like, I'm going to post a cake.
I'm going to post this cake. This cake slaps,
to my X account. So, okay. So internet rumor mill aside, because of this hype, somebody reached out to one of the developers and said, dude, I know you're not going to give us anything on this. I know that you guys don't give us updates and stuff, but please just tell me you guys are developing this game still. Don't tell us that it's been canceled or forgotten about or it's in development hell or any of that stuff. And they literally begged and just said, dude, please. Well, lo and behold, Team Cherry's head of marketing and publishing responded and said, Silksong is real, it is progressing, and it will release.
And that's it.
Okay. That's it. That's all we got. And then the world lost its mind because they went, the cake was a lie.
It was all a lie.
Oh, man. I why are we so enamored with this game? But we are.
Because it was so good, but it's a thing. It's a fine line you have to walk to build up that expectation and get people excited and like, oh man, and have that it's building, and then eventually it kind of boils over and people lose interest and get frustrated. You start to get mad. I'm getting to that point. I am getting to the point of like this kind of hidden in the shadows, a secret stuff, like just. How long does it take to make a game? It's not super, super in-depth detailed. It's not top-of-the-world graphics with some crazy engine that you have to do. I mean, it's an amazing game that's designed beautifully. I love the art style, but does it really take this long to make a game?
Apparently it does, Ryan.
Like, come on.
So Silksong was announced in 2019. It's been 6 years in development at this point. Now, I am of the mind that as much as I would love to play Silksong this year, take your time, which they obviously have been doing. So they've taken that advice.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's a hard.
But one of the things with Hollow Knight was the environment, the music, just that feeling of the game. I mean, the combat and the movement were top notch. And it's one of those things where it's like, you can't risk any of that. If they rush this game out and the controls suck or, that awesome music just isn't there, I think people are going to feel a little bit let down. Now, also, they did confirm that that Silksong is actually going to be much larger than Hollow Knight, which is cool because it's like not only are we just making another game, but we're making it much larger than the original as well. So maybe that's why it's taken so long. But they did also confirm that the game will come with over 100 different checkpoints and around 165 new enemies as well. So this is the stuff that I like to hear because famously, we troll like Borderlands, especially the Tiny Tina's Wonderland, where it just reused almost every asset in the game, and it was like, dude, come on. This I can literally tell you guys put like zero effort into this. So I'm okay if they're actually going to mix it up a little bit. New enemies. We have a new main character by the name of Hornet and all that. So we'll see. They didn't say it's not coming out in 2025. They didn't say it is coming out in 2025. The one rumor that a lot of people are really kind of saying, hey, makes a lot of sense is especially with the announcement of the Switch 2 is that they are going to try to time up the release of Hollow Knight Silksong with the release of the Nintendo Switch 2 as like a premier release title. I'm okay with that. Okay with that.
So
man.
we have a timeline now? Does that mean we have a timeline?
I don't know that it means we have a timeline, but it makes a lot of sense to people.
Yeah.
I mean, I will be playing it on my PC, but I get that if you are a Switch owner or, you know, planning on getting the Switch 2, having Silksong as a launch title available for the Switch 2 makes an awful lot of sense for both the developer and Nintendo in that regard. So I think, you know, when a rumor makes a lot of sense, sometimes it's like, okay, there's a good strong chance of this too.
Yeah, I mean, well, like we were talking about with Odyssey coming out with it, or, you know, if Silksong comes out, you know, there's your kind of hit.
That's a launch title right there.
That's your
man.
launch title, and I mean, it would be nice, you know, playing, you know, it in your bed, you know, tucked in, and just have the music going and falling asleep to Silksong would be pretty cool, you know, on the Switch. But yeah, I'm at that level where I'm just kind of annoyed now. It's like, come on, man, just give me the game.
Has turned into annoyance.
Yeah,
I mean that does happen. Let's be honest, and maybe that's why they're not trying to give these like periodic updates and string people along. Is they just say, hey, silence is better than nothing.
Yeah.
You know, we could be that developer that gives you, you know, all these tweets or shows you, you know, 10 seconds of gameplay or a splash screen or here's a wallpaper for your for your desktop, you know, and it's like, dude, what does this do me? Just give me the game, man.
Give me the game.
Yeah. So, all right, Ryan, we're going to take a quick break and then we are going to come back and talk about a canceled live service God of War. Womp womp. All right, we are back, and honestly, listen, during the break, I felt really gross. I had to wash my mouth, man. Live service God of War. Oh, no. Oh, man, I can't get it out. So we did get news that PlayStation came forward, and they did confirm that they canceled 2 live service games that were in development. A lot of people made the jump that this came as a direct result of the failure of Concord and Sony getting gun shy now about, hey, we don't really want to do a lot of this live service stuff anymore if it's all going to flop and then people are going to get mad at us. And I think part of that was, we're going to axe these 2 games because we don't want to lose millions and millions of dollars on them. Now, one game was a kind of unannounced new IP by a company called, or a studio called Bend Studio. Some were hoping that they were going to make Days Gone 2, but Sony just came forward and said, nope, this game, whatever it is done. And then they also confirmed that I can't even say it right. You say it. You say
I'm not saying it. I'm not doing it.
Oh, come on, man.
Live service God of War.
Oh.
I got through
it. Dude, listen. There's a lot of things in life that just because you can doesn't mean you should.
Yes.
I can probably rob a bank. You know, but you know what I'm not doing? I'm not robbing banks, man, because it's wrong. And you know what else is wrong? A live service God of War.
I like how you just compared robbing banks to live service God of War.
Yes. What are you doing, PlayStation? Like, don't. Just don't.
What's funny is right after they just dropped that the little expansion for Ragnarok or whatever, the Valhalla for free, and they just drop it to everyone, and then they're just in the background, they got a live service, you know, kind of churning. You know, it's like, no. This is what we like. The Valhalla for free. This is very nice. You know, we do not want live service.
Yes. No, here's the thing. There are certain franchises that you cannot turn into your little demonic money-making franchises.
Yeah.
You know? And God of War is one of those impeachable franchises. Number one, made you billions of dollars, I'm sure, because God of War 2018 like took the world by storm. God of War Ragnarok did very, very well. I mean, leave it alone. You can make money by just sales of a game.
Yes. That's
okay. And you made a lot of money by it. Do not adulterate and corrupt God of War.
like we always say too, not every game needs to be a battle royale. Not every game needs to be open world. Like, some games are designed and developed to follow this path and be this type. And just because this is the hotness that's making a lot of money doesn't mean you need to change what's over here. Go make something else. Go make something different that you want to be your live service and leave this alone.
There's a certain sanctity in gaming, man, that should be upheld. And taking beloved franchises and then trying to turn them into live service slop should be criminal. Yeah. And so I'm hoping that PlayStation realized this. I don't think this was an altruistic move. I think this was, we don't want to lose our shirt on another failed live service thing. So we're going to look at a couple that are going on right now and say, hey, we're probably done with this. Another thing that Sony canceled, if you remember, was the Last of Us multiplayer. Remember when they were developing the multiplayer Last of Us? And then they kind of came out and said, hey, you know, this isn't working out so well. That happened back in December of 2023. And that was one we were like, that probably makes sense. Like, stop abusing these really popular, good franchises, man.
Did you ever play The Last of Us Online? Like the first one? No? So no. I did, not a ton, but it was pretty fun because, you know, you can make those little kind of shrapnel bombs and toss them at guys and move around. And, you know, the movement is so great in Last of Us. But to make it a live service, I don't think that would work.
No. Yeah, get out of here with that. So hopefully PlayStation has learned. Okay, I feel gross. So we're moving on.
Yep, move on.
Okay, now I will say this for this next story. If you guys notice, we generally don't ever get caught up in like internet drama between streamers, drama between people. There's enough drama in the world. We're grown men with families. You know, nobody wants drama at this point in life. It's just, it doesn't serve a purpose. So it's very rare that we ever actually like cover into these stories. But this one was just a little too good of like a drama. And then we did actually get some answers from it as well. And so anybody that was paying attention to social media probably saw at least something where people were talking about Elon Musk. If you don't know who Elon Musk is, you're living under a rock, number one. But number two, Elon Musk is a gamer. He has been a gamer for a very long time. He streams, fairly regularly. He loves video games. He's come out and said it. He supports them. He's friends with a lot of streamers and stuff like that. So, Elon Musk is a gamer. But he's also Elon Musk, right? And so he's in the eye of the public. He's kind of a weird dude. We don't get into politics on this podcast. So all of this is apart from what you think of the man or political or any of that stuff. We are addressing the gamer. Okay. And so, Elon is famously a very, very big fan of Diablo, and recently Diablo 4. He has posted videos of him completing these challenge runs on Diablo 4. He's rated as like in the top 10 of Diablo 4 players in the world. He's posted videos of that, whatever, and then it's like, wow, okay, well, how does this guy have time to do all this, and run all these companies and everything? Well, then Path of Exile 2 came out. Famously, very big fan of that game. Ryan, you're a stupid jerk for not even trying it. But Path of Exile 2 came out, and Elon, like a normal person, went, oh, you know what? I love Diablo. Let me try this Path of Exile game. Because any normal person would do that. If Diablo was like one of their favorite games, and then this other game came out that it's like, yo, this game's way better than Diablo, you think a normal person would at least try that game. Especially a person that, I don't know, hosts a gaming podcast that can literally pick up the game on the dime of the podcast. Anyway, wait, I'm sorry. Ooh, what happened there?
Yeah, you started drifting away. You were so mad. You were so angry.
Back to this story.
Hey, listen, dude, I know myself. I know who I am, and I would probably not be recording with you, and I'd be on Path of Exile. I'm like, oh, I'll get to you later. I'm doing this raid. I'm got an addictive personality, man. I got sucked in.
All right.
I would have quit the pod for Path of Exile.
All right, now I feel like I'm just a drug dealer trying to push something on you, man. So
yeah, why are you peddling this to me, man?
Yeah. All right. So anyway, Path of Exile 2 comes out. Elon starts playing it, and then all of a sudden, a month or two or however long goes by before this game has been out in early access a little bit, and Elon starts posting these hardcore runs of Path of Exile. And people are like, whoa, like, dude, how does this guy find time to do this? And then he streams. He goes live. He starts streaming a playthrough of Path of Exile 2. And something doesn't quite jive with people that have played the game. And this is where the drama starts, okay? People said, hey, here's a top-level, hardcore Path of Exile 2 guy. We're watching him play live. He's kind of explaining a lot of things. He's chatting with people. But then people started to notice he doesn't quite play the game the way that somebody has been playing the game would. He's running past valuable items. He's having a hard time figuring out how to open the mini-map. He's saying things that he doesn't quite know what he sounds like he's talking about. There was just some spidey sense tingling going on.
Oh, yeah.
And then this started the internet into a tizzy, into an uproar. And the rumor became that Elon doesn't actually play these games, that he pays people to play these games for him. And he's been faking all of this the whole time.
Yeah.
And the internet, like the internet does, lost their minds, and it became this big conspiracy theory. And then Asmongold, very famous streamer, millions of followers, kind of stepped in and said, dude, it's obvious you don't play this game. Elon kind of fired back and said, well, it's obvious you don't come up with your own content, blah, blah, blah. And it kind of became a little bit of a war. Thankfully, it didn't go too far. But what we got out of all of this, because there was a lot of conjecture from people that said, no, Elon plays these games. We've seen his Diablo. It's him. Like you can literally watch him do this. He famously was a top-notch Quake player back in the day. Was actually ranked in the top leaderboards for Quake and stuff like that. So his credentials as a gamer were not really in question. It was just, is this you actually playing this game?
Yeah.
And we finally got an answer because there were some texts between Elon and a guy that he is either buddies with or a streamer with or something like that, that published these text messages that was very direct and said, hey, regarding your Path of Exile 2, was it your intention to take full credit for leveling your hardcore characters? Because it doesn't look like that's you. And Elon said, no, I never claimed that it was me at that point that had achieved that. And so he came out and said it. He did kind of clarify it, and he said, hey, the top accounts in Diablo and Path of Exile require multiple people playing the account to win this race and kind of be ranked in the leaderboards. And that's kind of a normal thing, is account sharing, he called it, where you kind of need to just grind, man.
Yeah.
And one person can only grind so much.
You can only play
and if
so
you want to
long.
be at the top, you might have more than one person grinding on your account at that point. So this kind of became clear, and people got their answers. All right. So let me ask you, Ryan, that's kind of the answers. He did say, hey, I don't always play my own account. When you see me streaming, it is 100% me streaming. He said, that is very true, but maybe I didn't level this guy all the way up.
Yeah. Yeah.
So let me ask you, what do you think of that? Like, if somebody's wanting to be top ranked, and this is a common thing in the industry to do account sharing and have multiple people leveling this character, is that lame? Does it make sense? Like, what do you think on this?
Dude's a poser, man. He's a poser, dude. No,
is that it?
I'm just kidding. The thing is, I feel like it was one of those things where he didn't come out to say it, but he also was hoping nobody was going to ask it.
That's my thinking as well.
This is my top rank here, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, look at me playing. I'm playing right now. He didn't say, oh, yeah, man, it was a grind to get to this. I played this long, this many hours. He didn't claim anything like that. But also, he didn't let everybody know that he didn't do all those leveling, hard grindy nights and stuff like that. So it's kind of a little weird, but he is a gamer, like you said, and he does play and he does stream when he plays. But yeah, you could tell like him trying to kind of fumble around. It's almost like you learn a new language when you're that deep into a game. You understand the keybinds and where to go with everything and what you call everything and all the terminology. And for somebody else coming in, you may know games, you may get some of it, but to be able to be that like fluent in another language is different than being able to just speak the language. So it's just a whole different world, and people picked up on it immediately. And I don't know what he was expecting, but yeah, it's kind of one of those weird things. I don't think it's like really bad or malicious, but also he was hoping probably people wouldn't notice.
Yeah, I agree. I think because his history with Diablo and his standing on Diablo, which is proven, he is a top-ranked Diablo player. I think with Path of Exile, he probably went, I want to try this. Let me see what the end game is like. I'm not defending like the actions by any means, but I'm saying I can understand from like a gamer point of view. This kind of gets more into that, like, if you have the means and you want to experience a game, is it lame or acceptable to purchase, because these things happen, a high level account? You know, if I'm playing an MMO, right, and it's like, dude, I don't have 400 hours to grind to level 60, but I really would kind of like to see what the end game and rating is like. I'm just going to buy this account that's for sale. I'll log in. It'll save me all that time, and then I get to experience the part of the game that I want to. I know my brain has always gone, well, that's lame. Just play the game, man.
Yeah.
Like, some of the fun is the adventure and the journey along the way, not just the end game stuff. But at the same time, like Throne and Liberty, for instance, right? Just played Throne and Liberty a good bit when it came out. And I found myself 100% just grinding so that I could do the end game raids, because that was the content that I wanted to play. That was the funnest content in my mind. And all this stupid leveling and the story that didn't make sense and I could care less about was just keeping me from that.
Yeah. Exactly.
You know, and so I can understand the mindset now. If Elon just went, look, I want to see what the Path of Exile 2 is. Sure, maybe I wasn't fully upfront with people, but when people ask me, I did come clean as well, you know? And so I don't know. That's a tough one. People can make their own decisions on that one, but it was kind of a little bit of a fun internet drama that happened that we did get a actual definitive answer on. And so we thought it'd be a fun little story to cover. Ryan, what do you think? Is it okay to buy an account if you want to just jump to endgame?
I think it is. I mean, how much is he making an hour? Basically, is he worth technically? You know, like you've always heard the thing where if somebody drops like $100 bill, it's costs them more time to pick it up.
Right.
They would just keep walking type thing. He goes and pays some guy however many thousands, and the guy's happy. I mean, he's creating jobs. You know?
Yeah. The only other point that I'll make, and something that this podcast has always said, is let people play video games the way they want to play video games. Some people like the very chill games. Some people like the hardcore games. Some people like multiplayer only, single player only, whatever. If you want to buy an account to experience the end game on a game, that's your choice. You know, I think we can have opinions on it to say, hey, I think that's kind of lame. Play the game. You know, They made the game with a start and they made the game with an end game. You know, have fun. So I think it's okay to have an opinion on that. I don't think it's okay to slander people and make them feel bad because they have a gaming preference, you know? And even with Elon, even with somebody like that, if it's his preference as a gamer to experience the end game and he has the means to buy an account or pay somebody to get him to that point, you can say what you want, but slandering somebody for their gaming choices is not something that we support.
That's the one thing I think he should have done, is just kind of come out and headed it off and said, you know, like, yeah, I run all of these companies. I don't have time to grind this many hours. I want to experience the end game. I play this and I'm going to play it. So let's, you know, check it out, watch it with me, you know, but
yeah. All right. One other story here. Genshin Impact, man, one of the most popular games out there. I don't even know what the player base is, but Genshin is huge, man.
Oh yeah.
Well, Genshin got themselves in a little bit of trouble with the Federal Trade Commission in the U.S. because they got investigated. They got slapped with a $20 million fine because the FTC determined that they had predatory practices with how they handle their loot boxes for kids. And they got hit with a $20 million fine and ordered to stop selling loot boxes to children.
Oh my gosh.
So, I mean, now, anybody that has played, and I'm just going to classify this as a gacha game. I think that's the right term for an old man like myself. But my daughter loves Genshin Impact. She's tried Honkai Star Rail. There's another one, Wuthering Waves. I've heard of all these games. I'm vaguely familiar with them. My daughter loves Genshin. She plays it all the time. And, you know, she's come to me and she said, Dad, can I buy the crystals or the battle pass or whatever? Because there's some 5-star hero I'm hoping to get. And I kind of go, not really a big fan of spending money on digital cosmetics, especially for a kid, but it's your money. okay, that kind of thing. Ryan, we know you love your luxury battle passes at this point.
It was one time. One time.
Oh, man. I love giving you flack on that. Because it's literally like the only podcast money you've ever spent.
I was buying games my own dime for a while.
Right? I know. Oh, that's funny.
By the way, it is they got an average monthly active players of 60 million.
Oh my goodness, dude.
No. That's on. Okay, yeah, 60 million. Yeah, online active players as of an hour ago were 124,000.
Yeah, okay. So Genshin ain't going anywhere. Yeah. It's a massive game. It's pulling in buku bucks, but they got in trouble, okay? And they said that the kind of thing was that Genshin deceived children, teens, and other players into spending hundreds of dollars on prizes they stood little chance of winning. Companies that deploy these dark pattern tactics will be held accountable if they deceive players, particularly kids and teens, about the true cost of in-game transactions. Part of the thing here was that it wasn't really clear when you were buying something or spending money or something like that. And this is something that they are cracking down on in video games. If you've ever gone to buy something off of Amazon and it defaults to the subscribe and save option, right?
Yeah.
Because that's happened, right?
Yep.
And that's kind of the same thing where it's like you didn't realize that it was on this option. You meant to purchase that option, but it's too late because, online transaction completed. You bought a loot box. You can't refund it. Too bad. You better open up that loot box and hope for the best. And so I think that's kind of this case that happened. It brings up the kind of larger debate. Like, are loot boxes a thing of the past? Are they gambling? Are they predatory? And are battle passes the safer option for developers at this point?
Man, that's a tough one because I do see, with us both having kids and both, it's you can tell how much it targets them and those little cosmetic upgrades or those little, things that you can get out of the loot box and the chance of getting them, how excited they are and how much they want it. And so you can see, that's why grown-ups go to Vegas and gamble because that drive and that dopamine hit you get is something that's special. But when it's kids that don't know how to make those choices and be able to lay off, I should probably not do that. It's a tough one. I do hope that loot boxes are kind of going the way of the past. I'm not a big fan of them. I don't understand why you would when I play a game, I want to play a game. Very rarely will I be like, oh, that thing or that item or that skin is really, really cool, and I'll think about buying it, but I'm just here to play the game and have fun. All that extra stuff isn't mean anything to me, but I know a lot of people it does. So I don't know. I prefer the battle passes and going that route than the loot boxes for sure.
I think the main thing with a battle pass is what your rewards are. You can see them ahead of time. You get them by playing the game. There is not a random chance involved. And with loot boxes, that random chance that's the kicker. That's why so many developers are moving away from them. They're getting in trouble for gambling with kids basically.
Yeah.
And I do think we will see where loot boxes are just a thing of the past. I do think battle passes are kind of the future for monetization, microtransactions, that kind of thing. So I don't know everything about this kind of fine and legal thing, but I will say that as a parent and as a gamer, I am a fan of being a little bit more clear with if you're going to give us money for something inside our game, we are going to be a little bit more transparent about what you are going to get at that point. And so I think that's a good thing, especially for kids, because otherwise it really is just kind of gambling, man.
Yeah, exactly.
I tell my kids all the time, they are so into Pokemon cards right now, man. It's ridiculous. And I tell them, I said, dude, Pokemon is just gambling for kids. And I'm not trying to slander Pokemon, but it really is, dude. It is. And I have seen the crushing disappointment in my own kids where they spend money on packs or a lot of money on packs, and then they get diddly squat, and then they're so sad, disappointed. And as a parent, I hate that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, my daughter just bought some packs the other day and she pulled an $80 card. It's the second best card in the set, and she lost her mind. And that joy was kind of cool to see too. But that joy is much rarer than the disappointment from that. And so as a parent, it's I don't like teaching kids to gamble.
That's true. Wait till you're an adult before you become a degenerate gambler.
Yeah,
like I
do
did.
stupid stuff.
Yeah.
You know? All right. Well, listen, we've gone long on this episode, but thank you everybody for joining us, getting caught up on your gaming news. If you enjoyed this episode and you haven't done so already, please leave us a review, rate us 5 stars in your podcast app. Look, we have... I mean, legitimately multiple people. I want to say it's like 4 to 6 people per day that are joining our Discord server, if not more. Every single person that comes in there goes, whoa, this place is awesome. These are actual gamers talking video games, giving game recommendations, talking about the latest news, joining up and playing games together as well. So don't miss out on that. You don't have to chat. We love our lurkers as well, but just come be a part of it if nothing else.
A lot more have been popping in too. A lot more of the lurkers. Hey, I've been a lurker. And every time we're like, yes, we converted another one.
Seeing our lurkers. I know. Yeah. So, but, come in, chat with other gamers. It's family friendly. It's non-toxic community. Nobody's going to make fun of you for your choices or any of that stuff. It really is an awesome place. And if you've been listening a while, if you're at the gym and you're having a grand old time and we've made doing your sets a little bit easier or your commute a little bit better, and you think, you know what, man, I've really been consuming a lot of content from these fine, handsome gentlemen. Maybe I should think about giving back just a little bit on that. You can do that. We will not stop you from doing that if you are of the mind and the kind heart to head over to multiplayersquad.com and sign up to support this podcast. You can do it as little as $5 a month. There definitely are some better options out there if you are so inclined. But if nothing else, head over there and check out those options if you've been enjoying this podcast as well. So that's it for this episode. We'll be back on Monday with a fun episode, Ryan. I'm not going to tease it yet, but I'm excited for that one. And until next time, happy gaming.
See ya.